in that area, working with our cooperators that have pre-existing fuel breaks in that area. We're also looking at utilizing some of the pre-existing burn scars that have control features in place that we'll be looking at utilizing. Coming around the bottom end of the fire, still fairly active coming in this area here until you get to the southern part of the fire here where we have a control line where we've been able to contain or control, and then we will continue to mop up and secure the bottom end of this fire as well. Coming all the way back in towards just west of Volcanoville. Successful day today. The crews were able to come off the top of Buckeye. They were able to continue to take the fire down into the American River. They were able to tie all that in. That is all looking good right now. We'll continue to monitor that area over the next few days, but overall in this section, things went pretty well today operationally. End of report.
Thank you, Ernie. Appreciate that. Next up, we're going to have our fire behavior analyst, Jonathan Panburn.
Good evening. There was a slight mixing of the air with a little bit of wind movement today. We specifically had that persistent southwest flow that's starting to push the fire deeper into the forested areas, but that's good news for the communities such as the Forest Hill, Volcanoville, and Quintet communities. Moving up into this northeastern portion of the fire, we observed fire coming up into the crowns of trees or torching in groups, and it really started to move with some of the limited airflow that we have today. We're expecting that airflow to increase a little bit tomorrow and especially into Wednesday. So we're expecting a little bit of an uptick in fire behavior. And I want to touch on that. We are seeing historically dry fuels. Here we have a chart of the ERC or energy release component of the fuels in the fire area. If you'll note, this blue line is the current year, and up here you can see we are breaking records in this particular fire area. What the energy release component means is it's a conglomerate of the live and dead fuels or vegetation that is available to burn, and it's a composite of how dry and how much energy they would release in the event of a fire situation. And so this, I just wanted to point out that we are seeing historic values in this particular area. So it's presenting a challenge to firefighters, and that is why they're building containment line further out to the east and putting together a plan with cooperators using their existing fuel breaks. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Next up with us, we're going to have PG&E's Government Affairs, Brandon Sanders.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Brandon Sanders. I am a senior representative with PG&E's Local Government Affairs Group, here this evening to provide you with an update on PG&E's efforts in support of our customers and communities impacted by the Mosquito Fire. I'd like to thank the incident for affording me this opportunity to join you. I have some information which I think folks will appreciate hearing, and of course I'll be available for questions at the end as well. I'd like to start by noting that since the beginning of the event, PG&E has had 0 safety incidents. Our coworkers continue to work at a safe and determined pace to restore service to our customers and communities impacted by the fire. As of this evening, we have 522 customers without electric service due primarily to PG&E de-energizing overhead electrical equipment for firefighter safety. That eliminates the risk of electrical equipment placing our firefighters in harm's way, and we do that at the direction of the incident. Since the beginning of the event, we have had 20 of our safety infrastructure protection teams operating within the fire footprint. Those crews are pre-treating electric assets with fire retardant as a means of lessening or minimizing damage from the fire to those assets. This does a number of things. One, it promotes firefighter safety by lessening the amount of material or equipment or debris in a roadway, for example. It does also limit the extent of damage post-fire, allowing us to bring service back to our customers in a more timely manner. As of this morning, those SIPT crews have treated more than 2,000 assets in the field and continue to do so in addition to supporting our crews as needed. We are partnering with the Placer Community Foundation and the El Dorado Community Foundation as an additional supportive measure for our customers who were affected by the fire. And we are committed to bringing the service back to those who are without service as quickly and safely as possible. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that, Brandon. Next up from Placer County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant John Barnhart.
Thank you. Good evening. We'll start with there has been no change to evacuations and no new evacuation zones ordered. I'll move over to the map if it's ready. Again, you can go to the live map through our social media platforms or to placersheriff.org. You'll notice at the top of the page you can enter your address to see if you are affected by any of these zones. If in case we do have to make more evacuations, just type in your address and it'll take you right there. As you can see, the purple area is the fire, and around it is the red area, which is remains the evacuation order zone of Michigan Bluff, Forest Hill proper, and Todd Valley. As you can see, the yellow areas still indicate evacuation warning zones. As far as staffing is concerned, we still have deputies out on patrols 24/7. We have 20 deputies assigned and 13 of our allied agency partners assisting. As far as damage assessments, they have been initiated. We issued a post on our social media concerning Michigan Bluff, and if you did not see that and you are a resident of Michigan Bluff, please call area code 530-886-5390. As far as repopulation, we continue to get questions about when that's going to happen. We just ask your patience as that planning is being conducted, and we cannot repopulate until it's deemed safe. We've had a question about whether or not citizens can retrieve property, and until the areas are deemed safe, we cannot allow that to happen. In closing, I'd just like to say thank you to the communities for their continued support in this effort, and thank you for your patience and endurance during this difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Appreciate that. Next up from El Dorado County Sheriff's Sergeant Alex. Sorry.
Hello, Alexander Story, Sheriff's Office for El Dorado County, and I'm the Public Information Officer. Today, I'll start it off with our staffing. We had 7 El Dorado County Sheriff's Office personnel dedicated to this fire today, and 30 mutual aid, so a total of 37 law enforcement personnel dedicated to the fire. As far as arrests go, we had 8 arrests and 1 citation total so far. We had 1 more arrest and 1 more citation. These arrests are people that we believe to be either intent or actually victimizing our community. As far as public information goes, I'll reiterate that you can go to the county website, and that is edcgov.us, and our social media pages, and then also for any displaced residents, 211 is a good option. Also, if you haven't already, sign up for evacuation notices, ready.edso.org. So far, there's been no change to any evacuation orders or warnings or road closures, so that all remains the same. Additionally, today, Animal Services has put out information that they will respond to any calls, and they offer to assist residents of evacuated areas to feed and water their pets. So they'll go respond out to your property if you give them a call. The phone number is 530-621-5795. Again, that's 530-621-5795. Lastly, I'll talk about DINS. So a DINS team is a damage inspection specialist team, and their role is to go out and identify properties that may or may not have been damaged in the affected area. So we know these are trying times for everyone that's been affected by this fire, and the DENS team can go in when it's safe. They have gone in today. They've been working, and as a result, we were able to put up a map on our website here, and we'll go over here and we'll talk about it a little bit. So if we go to the edc.gov.us, and then click on the Mosquito Fire response information, and then scroll down, it should be in there for you, ready to view. Scroll back up, go back to the other ticker. Click on that one. And then you can go in here and view any properties. There's a legend on the left-hand side, and you can view properties with damage or no damage. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sergeant. And next up is going to be with our CAL FIRE Unified Commander, Jim Hudson.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Obviously, for those of you that are monitoring, this is our third community meeting, and if we're doing these, it means the fire is still burning relatively uncontrolled in some areas, and there is still a threat out there. I'd like to start off tonight by reaffirming our priorities and goals as unified commanders between CAL FIRE, United States Forest Service, El Dorado County Sheriff's priorities, as well as Placer County Sheriff's. As we work through this, We've said that our priorities are life and property, and that hasn't gone unchanged, and we will continue to move forward that. And that does have an impact for you being taken out of your home. We're not going to allow people to be put in harm's way, but we are working tirelessly around the clock and accessing and leveraging all the assets and resources available to the state, to the U.S. Forest Service, accessing mutual aid from our local government partners. We are working around the clock, I can assure you that. But we are making small gains. If you can see, there's some black line on the map this morning that wasn't there the day before. And if you look at this fire around the communities, we are going direct as possible. Operations gave an excellent briefing there of what we're doing and what our priorities are. And we will continue to work around the fire's edge as close as possible. There are areas where it is challenging and we will have to go in direct. But our goal is to keep this fire in the smallest footprint possible. As we work around the clock and leverage those assets, we have the full breadth of our abilities as fire suppression resources and law enforcement across the state of California. That's ground resources, heavy equipment, aircraft, and night-flying aircraft dropping water and providing aerial reconnaissance across this fire. So we ask you for your patience. We'll continue to update you. We're well aware of the situation at hand. Our goal is to get you home as soon as possible. And like I said, keep this fire in the smallest footprint possible and bring some normalcy to you and stabilize to where we were before this fire ignited. So again, thank you for your patience. We'll continue to update you.
Thank you, Commander.